Howdy folks, Wonder Montage Survival here. This is episode 2 of Adelina Hollenbeck here in West Point. Going into this episode, we have some issues that we get to deal with. We don't already have We have incurred several injuries over the last couple of days of fighting and clearing out the city of West Point. And so we've had to be a little tactical in how we go about sort of doing the looting and acquiring basic supplies, because we have not been able to find painkillers and we don't have enough vitamins to offset drinking. Let me sip a beverage real fast. I have my peppermint tea on hand right now. Yeah, so in the last episode, we incurred a laceration on our right arm, and so for this first day, we're being very careful, very strategical about coming over and prying open these storage units that are right by the base. This is going to be all. These first 2 days, in fact, are going to be fairly slow as we're recovering from the injuries. Come day 3, I will decide that we've made it kind of far enough into downtown that it will be safe to go to the Pharma-Hug, and we will have recovered from not the lacerations entirely, but we will have moved on from the pain. So although it will be a little too late for actually acquiring the painkillers, we will have them for when we need them the next several times that we probably get injured. Yeah. So this first day, I'm just going to kind of work around these storage units, get them all pried open. I have the Common Sense mod installed, which lets you do some pretty fun things with crowbars. We're going to struggle for a little bit to get some of these doors open, which is always really funny. I do decide to just skip that one. This was actually one of the spots that I was considering basing in. I've based here before. It's like really fun. The issue that I encountered here previously was just the fact that it's a single story unit. It's like very cool getting a sledgehammer and being able to destroy all of the doors or all the walls in between each of the units, and just getting to like customize the space as you want, but it just falls into the problem of being single story, kind of a classic issue in some of these spaces. So I just took my time. I'm figuring that this is gonna. I've already cleared out this area kind of several times over, so it's fairly safe to explore. We just have to use our horde management abilities and try not to pull more than one or two at a time. So yeah, that lady managed to get us, not bite us, but give us a nice scratch, and the levels of pain that we're enduring just kind of keep ticking up, which kind of an issue. But you know, you deal. Also, we do find a lot of skill books that we are looking for, which is really nice. If I'm not mistaken, this door also has a guy behind it, yeah. We find a storage facility key, which is, at this point, not too necessary because we have managed to pry our way into here, but these doors are, these security doors are kind of an issue for us. This is also where we had acquired the mattress that we're sleeping on right now. In the last episode. Just thinking right now, sorry. But in general, like, this episode it's slow, but for me it was very tense to get to play. Because our combat speed was so hindered both by the injury to our right arm and by the level of pain that we're dealing with. Hence why I just kind of took my time in getting through most of this stuff. I probably will be coming back here though, because there's a lot of good furniture for the base. I'm like a big fan of the orange and green couches. Those things look like so mod, like so 1970s. And I just love like the colors on both of them. You know, one's that tacky orange and one's that like weird chartreuse kind of color, which somehow both like that color both like can bring a palette together and just like utterly destroy it like at the same time, which I'm just like I'm fascinated by. I think it's such a weird color. And even just because of the injury, we end up wrapping up the days a little bit earlier. Just like it doesn't, by the time that I do have to deal with hordes, or even these little groups, like this group really ended up being quite the issue for us. Trying to deal with three zombies when you're either weaponless or like very injured. And we're not even very injured. We don't have like broken body parts or anything like that. It's just annoying. We're fairly encumbered too, so just to me, just like throwing shit on the ground in order to get over our not muscle, like muscle strain. Oh yeah, and we ended up pulling this group. I forgot about this. We pulled this large group, and I just kind of ran as far ahead as I could, and I used the old round them up and retreat strategy. One of the other reasons why I just knew, like, I just knew, like, if I were to come home at 9 o'clock, we wouldn't have gotten into the house until probably like midnight, if not later. I've definitely seen flashlights at this point, but I don't think I've looted any. It's kind of funny. Again, with like another group of three, I'm like, well, we got a weapon, like we just gotta be slow, take our time, take advantage of our space, run backwards as far as we can. This is like one of the hardest, or one I feel like one of the most limiting components that kind of holds people back from being able to get into this game is like the combat. It's not like particularly hard combat, but you definitely kind of have to keep your wits about you, and like all the button clicking is kind of unwieldy. But in real life, I mean, combat like this would be probably far harder. I'd be freaking the fuck out if I had to like kill a couple of people that were running at me like this. I also don't even know if I'd have the strength to like be able to do it. I mean, you'd have to really go through a lot of people. We do end up moving a shelf into here. I'm kind of getting this room set up as the wig out room. We'll need to do something about the door, because the door does have visibility from the outside. And that's not something you want when it's a wig out room. So that's kind of an issue. I have moved one shelf up into that room, into the bedroom for all of the clothes that I will probably be acquiring. I've already gone through a boob tube, and tomorrow, again, we'll sustain more injuries. Don't you guys worry. It's kind of irregular. It's actually, it's been funny since I started recording. I've definitely sustained more injuries than I regularly would. It's for you guys. It's for the viewers, for the boys watching. In the meantime, we have lots of inventory management. This room will kind of be designated as the storage room. We will end up just putting a lot of stuff inside of there. Mostly like weapons and more like the stuff that would end up in like your storage shed, or like a tool shed or something. That's kind of going to be like the big tool room. The wig out room right now is also the kitchen, which is just kind of funny overlap. But especially as we draw closer to the helicopter event, we will have to, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. We'll be doing a lot more like book reading. And so this day I decide I want to probably make my way to the bookstore, given the fact that the helicopter event is coming. Like, we grabbed a couple of skill books in the storage units, but it doesn't quite feel like enough to get us off. That's inappropriate. In order to like get us started on skill building, so I actually just make it as far as the post office, and I remember that the post office also has a large number of books that spawn in there, and I end up just grabbing most everything from there. I also don't even keep track of which books that we've had, and it's okay because having duplicates of books is kind of fine because they work well as fire starters. I'm gonna take a sip of water. We also just got a skill up in long blade, which is really nice. I can't remember what specific mod, but in vanilla you only have two long blade weapons, which are the machete and katana. But there's a mod, I believe it's bushcraft tools. We'll also end up getting a sledgehammer here, which is really nice. I must have missed that on the first go-around into that hardware store, but there's actually two in there. I'll end up dropping one here at the intersection briefly, just because I'm like, well, it really, if I forget it's over here, like I know that there's a second in the tool shed, but I mean, it's fine. I'm sorry, not the tool shed, in the general store. And this horde was kind of scary because I mean we're in pain, and I end up dragging them all the way across like the Gigamart, like the span of the Gigamart parking lot. But we got them all dead, which is important. So right now we're just kind of we're just solidifying a lot of our bases. We're just kind of getting, or like our foundations. We're building our foundation on which we can kind of build the rest of the run. We're just getting our basic supplies, finding the things that we need. There's our sledgehammer. I just see a guy there. I'm like, whatever. If we pull him, we just pull him. I think the first couple of skills we'll probably end up emphasizing are going to be carpentry, because we'll want that for being able to make like water collection and being able to disassemble furniture that we want for other items. We'll probably also end up doing cooking, just because cooking is very useful. I'll probably do metalworking and mechanics as well. I got very worried. That guy right there ended up scratching our belly and increasing our level of pain, and I'd already drunk both of the beers that we had acquired from somewhere. I can't remember where. And so I'm just like, let's go over to Twiggy's and we're just going to get a bunch of alcohol, because we will be able to use alcohol to help regulate weight and to regulate our sleep. Especially with all the pain, you can just down a bottle of wine and move past the pain threshold. One of the reasons that's also one of the reasons why like vitamins can be very nice paired with alcohol. Alcohol will make you sleepy. Even drinking a beer like makes you just ridiculously tired within like an hour, which I feel like the scaling on that is a little wacky. But, you just got to deal with, like, the game's thresholds or whatever. And surprisingly, Twiggy's, like, at least the first floor didn't have any zombies inside. We did kill 2 bikers, and we found the cool leather jackets, which are the ones that I like, and we'll end up using those probably much later in the game as heat insulation. Now that we have that sledgehammer as well, we'll probably be thinking about getting into the gun store. I didn't feel comfortable continuing down this drag just because this area can end up being so overwhelmed by zombies. It was like we're in the clear just to get into the bar. So let's go to the bar. I wonder if that got picked up. That was me adjusting my chair. And so I just filled up this garbage bag with bourbon and wine. And so we have another machete. We have this rancher machete. I was thinking about the machetes at one point, because I have a mod. I think it's more weapons bushcraft. And it adds like a whole bunch of one-handed and two-handed axes and these machetes, which I really like, just because I feel like those are the two most underutilized like weapon types in the game. In my 800 hours of playing, I've also never played with spears, but I already know that spears are like very powerful. They scale very well in the same way that like short blade, as a person who doesn't play with multi-hit, like scales like incredibly. Because you know, you start, especially when you're like a new player, you'll pick up like a kitchen knife and you'll like kill maybe a zombie with it, and then it breaks and you're like, these knives suck. But if you like collect a lot of screwdrivers and take your time and building up short blade, it ends up being like a really powerful skill, because like knives are easily one of the most common things that you find on zombies, especially if you make it past about the first week of the game. And they take very little energy from your character when you use them. Like a lot of other weapons will put you in exertion mode, or they lead to like fatigue very quickly, but like short blade is really nice because it takes a lot of kills for them to induce fatigue, and you can also carry like a bag in your offhand, so it's like really conducive to good looting. The only thing that sucks is that you have to get so close to zombies in order to attack them, but for me that's neither here nor there. It's just just don't be dumb. So we'll drink a bunch of red wine and get a little tipsy and call that a night. I also tried to disassemble these shelves and found out that that's like impossible. I don't know if it has something to do with how they overlap or what, but I thought that was kind of wacky. So that back room might end up becoming, or I'm sorry, hold on. That like front of house room might end up becoming the actual storage area. Just in order to encourage good practice, we're going to start listening to the ABS here. Even, for those who don't know, the automated broadcast system is a random frequency that every morning updates at 8 a.m. and it will tell you the weather for today and the weather for tomorrow, whether or not there is a thunderstorm or like a storm of some sort imminent in the next 5 days, and whether or not there is air activity on that day of play. So if you're worried about like the opening helicopter event, it's a good thing to have just in order to avoid it. And if you're playing with helicopter sometimes, which is how I tend to play, or helicopter often, which I tend not to play with just because it's too consistent. Like, it's a little bit scarier with the helicopter sometimes, like going like 14 or 16 days and like not having a helicopter. Just kind of like, where the fuck is this thing? Is it safe for me to even go out? Yada yada. But on this day, I realized that we no longer were in pain. So we were just like, we were back in combat, which was nice because the Pharma-Hug had a huge group outside of it, and we took care of it so fast. And after we break in, we will find enough painkillers and vitamins to probably last us until this character dies, if not a little bit longer. pharmacy was fun to break into just because it had a lot of non-perishable food. It had a lot of um, medicine. Found some hairspray. If we can find some boxes of sparklers, we'll be able to assemble aerosol bombs, which are very powerful when you're having to deal with like very large groups of zombies. Um, my goal is to be able to find some so that we can actually get those thrown. We'll just end up, we find a new duffel bag and we'll just fill that thing up with about everything that's like usable inside of this place. Yeah. Yeah. There's a guy out there, I forgot about him. We also found a regular saw. I know the game doesn't really distinguish between um, we found a regular saw and we found the key to the pharmacy as well, which was really nice. So we could get into this back room and collect all of the stuff that was back here. Yeah, I know that the game doesn't distinguish between garden saw and regular saw, but for my own kind of sake, I kind of prefer using the regular saw just because it doesn't feel right not using that. There's also this absolutely beat up school bus here. The game was insisting that there were zombies after me, and I couldn't see anyone for within any part of my vision, so I didn't enter the back. It's absolutely toast, and it doesn't have a key, but I would like to get my mechanics up enough to probably be able to hotwire vehicles, and it would be fun to have that as kind of a small project, being able to fix up a bus and get to use that as our ride into Louisville, which, if this character lasts long enough, is kind of my goal, I think, is get this character into Louisville, get out of West Point, and find somewhere to start gathering even more supplies and set up a secondary base. For now, we're going to stay in West Point for as long as we can, though. That may involve wintering here. Who's to say? And we're kind of in the wrap-up now, actually. So, yeah, because we got a lot of alcohol. We actually have painkillers now. Even though we're no longer in pain, it's nice to have those. We have a lot of weapons. We have some food, and we're now just going to have to be working on our skills enough to get this place like set up as our base. I think in the last episode I kind of covered what my general plans are with this area, but now finding out that those shelves in the front of house are not disassemblable, seems like a word, we're probably going to end up designating that area as long-term storage, and the little office upstairs will be our bedroom, and this will the garage area will kind of be the general like hangout kind of room. That's about it. Pretty simple episode. I don't really know what we're going to be doing in the next one. We have to wait for the helicopter still, and we just have a lot of scavenging. I still don't have a car at this point, so I'd like to find a car. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. Go fuck yourselves.